you just take a second to imagine, think back to when you were 6 or 7, and you were starting your first day of first grade. And think about how your classroom looked, and your teacher, and how she was smiling, or he was smiling, and like, what materials did you have, and what textbooks did you have? Like, just think about that for a second. So, in the United States, especially in California, there are schools that have very great differences because of the social economic community around them. And this is a problem. And in my research, I am planning on looking at these differences. So the first thing that I've done so far is I've watched this movie. It's a documentary called First to Worst. And it looks at a school in Richmond, which is about 30 miles away from here, and a school in Orinda, which is about 15 miles away from that. And they're both in the same county, but Richmond is one of the poorer school districts in the Bay Area, and the schools are falling apart, teachers stay for a year or two, and extracurriculars are being cut by the year. And in Orinda, the schools have beautiful gardens, tons of extracurriculars, arts, sports, and the teachers are there. They have their masters, they have many degrees in their field that they teach. And this is just something that I find very disturbing. And I wanted to look into why that is. And when I was doing that, also presented in First to Worst, is that local donations make a huge difference in what the schools are able to bring and offer to their students. So, the budget actually ends up being about 8%. And that can make a huge difference in a child's life. And so, as I did more research, moving on from just the history of the schools in California, I saw that there are 2 propositions on this year's ballot that directly affect education funding. They're Proposition 30 and 38. And 30 is a proposition that brings in money through personal income tax and sales tax to education and then other public programs. And then 38 brings in a lot more money through personal income tax to fund education directly. So these are incredibly difficult to read, and as I'm reading them, I'm wondering, do they actually affect the fact that schools' donations make a huge impact on their education they provide for their school? And so, in my research, I'm hoping to see if when they pass or don't pass in November, why that happened, if their passing is going to have a difference on the local incomes that schools get to provide for their students, and what there is for the future.
Thank you, Asha.